What is so confusing about the narcissist is that they never have a clear answer for you, only at the beginning. At the beginning, it's as if you don't even have to think anymore, because what comes out of their mouth and how they answer your questions is something you have never experienced before. This goes on for a few months, and then um, suddenly mad behavior occurs where you tolerate it and you go over it. Like any kind of a question you will ask them will lead to drama, will lead either to drama, will lead to silence, or will lead to aggression. It's like you're like, with whom am I? If you really think about it, you're totally alone. Even in discussions, you're having a relationship that's on a hype in some kind of ways, like big presents, lifestyle. They are very picky with earning a lot of money to show their power. Um, just with lies, like, yeah, if you don't like your life anymore, we will change it. We will move somewhere else. Big lie. He never changed and moved anywhere with me. And every time I asked a question, a normal question, I was upset about how the response was every time. With every friend of mine, every single friend or family, I can go into a discussion, and even if we are both not the same opinion, everything is good, or I have to reflect on things or rethink things, like there is some kind of an input output thing going on, um, or like a reset button where I think, oh, I have to go like this, and then there's always something going out of a narcissist discussion. I often had it that at work I was thinking, okay, this evening I have to go through it. I have to go through this and this with him this evening. And either they were so tired that they didn't want to discuss anything anymore, and if I discussed something, I have never seen someone without that much empathy as I did there. It was if, yeah, you go through your things, you will get it done. It wasn't as if he was on my boat, who was jumping on my boat and, what, really? I didn't see that in his eyes. So the way they respond to your questions that you have in life is very telling that you're alone anyhow. If you were sitting with me here and I leave the room, you're alone. But if you sit with me here, you're not alone. I will think about what you just said. With a narcissist, you can sit with them. I could stand in any country of this world and I was totally alone. It's not like we don't detect that there's something totally wrong in the background of those people, because I had it underlying all the time. I would say to my friends very, very often that I have a feeling of, like when he was totally next to me, right next to me, I could see that he was trying to be making a show so that I didn't think of what was really on the other side going on. Like when we went on long holidays, I was really convinced that we had so much time together that I thought, he didn't go to the computer, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. So he's really with me. He has no connections to the outer world except of me and a few friends. But the truth was, every time he went to the toilet, he took his phone with him. And at his workplace, the people would normally say to me, "Ah, yeah, the boss is at work, in the toilet with his phone." And his phone was always dead in the evening. And when you get a new iPhone or anything, it lasts quite a while. So to make it really dead, you have to be on really, really a lot of apps. And that's what he was. Every evening he had to load it, and it was the most important thing for him. If he forgot it at home, I had to bring it to work. I really had to bring it to work. He would ring me. And he didn't ring me about other things. If the milk was empty or whatever, never. But when his phone was at home, hallelujah, then hell broke loose. So there is a side to them that we have to be very cautious about. Don't want answers from that other side. Don't want clarity about it. Don't go to a narcissist and say, you know what, I found out that you're a narcissist. doesn't help anyone. It doesn't even help the person himself, not healable. The only thing that I found out was I was in this relationship, he was in this relationship. And then the relationship in itself was the bond. He was not healable in that moment. And the bond was not even created, because if I feel alone in this world, even though I am with someone else, the only one in those three components was me that I could heal. And I knew it wouldn't be fun. I knew he frightened me to the core, but I knew that I have so much faith in the universe that it has my back, that even if it hurts, something else will come out of it. And I wanted to test myself. I sometimes do that in life. That's how I did become a vegetarian. I always say I can test things, and if I don't like it, I mean, as a vegetarian, you go back to that lifestyle that you wanted. As I left the narcissist and I had the hurt worse than as I was with him. But suddenly a world opened up around me where I'm narcissist free around me. I get normal answers to my life from everyone. I can connect to myself in a very good space. I can lay out my future totally different because he was manipulating all these goals. I can be in places that I couldn't be with him. Like, there were so many points already, 5 points that I didn't have with him. So if you are in a situation that bothers you and you don't get normal answers, you're not in a relationship at all. They say it's an entanglement. A relationship is, if you ask me something, I will, without hesitation, say a yes, no, or whatever answer lays in my head to answer you. A narcissist will go through it. You can see how they are processing this while you are asking them, and they hate that. They hate to be confronted with things, even if it's the smallest things. And if it was something that wasn't serious, I could see how his eyes lit up to just answer because someone had suddenly attention for it. Then he would hold a monologue for an hour if I just asked one simple question. So either I got a monologue or I got a very angry person that suddenly popped out of nowhere. So just randomly I saw a YouTube video of an FBI agent who said how you can detect if someone is lying. And the very obvious thing is, I ask you a question, I get a yes or a no. If I ask you a question, if you've been cheating on me, and it didn't happen, you will be very normal in tone and just, as if there is nothing to talk about and there's nothing to be angry about, because you can have that question towards me and I would just be surprised that you do. Like, if I'm not cheating and you ask me, are you cheating, and I am not, and you still stay in this mood of, yeah, but I think so because that and that happened, then it's for someone who is not lying, just interesting that the other person has this notion that I even gave someone the feeling that I would be. That is, like, I would be very devastated that someone thinks that of me and my worth. And a narcissist, I asked and I didn't get a clear yes or no to it. Plus I would say no. I would be like so clearly no that, and a narcissist will wiggle his way through, like, that's why you are, they hold monologues, then they go crazy and they say, that's why you are disturbing this whole relationship because of all these thoughts that you have. And it was just a normal question if there's suddenly a feeling coming up. And even if that person is cheating, they could say it, because then something's missing in our relationship. And yeah, that they don't answer straight. Someone who can't answer straight, there is something in the bush. You don't want to know about it. That's another thing. Don't go after, like, oh, what, really? And I don't believe you. And I read there is a narcissist always lie, and nothing of that. Ask a normal question, get an answer. You won't get it. If you're right now with a narcissist and you have one simple question, you won't get a normal answer. That is so typical for a narcissist. Plus, you are in that relationship totally alone. So the earlier you can jump off, the earlier you can self-heal. Won't be an easy ride. It won't be maybe that you can do it on your own. You might need a coach or psychotherapist. But you have to get out of that horror of being manipulated, controlled, and not in a loving state anyhow. So if I'm not in a loving state anyhow, what's the difference of me standing or sitting now on a couch doing this? There is no, why should I be in that other state? Plus, after self-healing, you can get into a state that was not even possible with them. Stupid is that I thought what he says and what he does at the beginning resemble each other. But as soon as there was a problem in the air, and he created, I can tell you, dramas and problems, sometimes even out of a question I asked, which is between friends something totally normal, he would create a drama, and then there was a pattern to it. It was a pattern of, I asked this question, then a week that happened, like his behavior became even more worse than it was without the question. So you stop questioning. That's what they want. They want you to stop questioning and confronting them in situations where they have absolutely no thought for you in the first place. That is for them very confusing if you just stand there and then they suddenly have to come up with something, which they do. But it exhausts them. That's the first time I saw him really exhausted. And I thought, there's nothing to be exhausted about. It's just an answer. And you can see that that wasn't in their plan of the evening to go through these things. And he always had such a convincing, place in my heart, how to convince me that it's his way, that I didn't doubt it. You don't doubt someone whose words and behaviors are quite okay for you. Only when they start becoming very awkward in their behavior, that's when you really start questioning them as a person. That's what they don't like. They like to keep up this facade, but they can't. That's the thing. They even know that they can't. They know that they can't keep up that facade. So they even know from the beginning that this whole relationship will just be for whatever period I am tolerating to put up with. And I have to be with someone who can answer straight and who is authentic and who has contact to himself, who gives loving touches, which a narcissist can never give. I doubt that there is one narcissist out there who can really, really, not just this 50 Shades of Grey kind of sexual behavior, but I'm really talking about real good hugs and kisses and genuine door opening, genuine being with you. And yeah, it's hard to detect because they always say they want you and sometimes can give you a hug, but not the genuine ones. So I realized with every question that I had, I didn't get the answer. It's not that when I go into a friendship of a good friend, that when I have a question, I want to have an answer that satisfies me, but I want to have an answer that gives me the opportunity to grow on, or maybe we resemble each other, or we even say to each other, you know what, I have to think about this one. I have had that twice in my life, where people came towards me with a problem where I said, you know what, this is such a grand problem. It's not like I'm going to shoot right out what I think right now, and I have to go through things, and I have to step in both people's shoes. I have to walk in their shoes, and then I can come up with something. So I don't go into immediate reaction. And a narcissist will never do that. You question them, and they go into an immediate reaction, as if they were just waiting for this cannon to shoot, as if they were waiting all day that I would pop out with that question, and they shoot, like trying to convince me into a certain direction. And that's not what friends do with each other, if you think about it. Your best friend will never convince you. They will listen, which a narcissist can't. They can't. They just grasp things quickly. And it's never in your favor. They grasp it so that they can see, how does that fit into my whole plan that I'm having already with her, with the goalpost that I have, and that she doesn't find out what's going on in the background. And it's always, I don't know if you have the same, but I always saw as if there was like a line running up there. It was never when I was with him in one room, that I could feel a sense of now everything is good. It's good. There is no problem. And if we will sort it out, never found that place. Only at the beginning. It was only at the beginning that he gave me this feeling of when he came home, he could create an atmosphere that I have never experienced. Candles, love songs, cooking, like the whole Hollywood, like Grace Kelly would have been envious of those evenings that I have experienced. Outside, the snow coming down, the cozy inside. We had 1 hour of sleep. Sometimes, if it came up to a lot, we had maybe 2 days off with each other, and it was just the most intense experience I've ever had. In 5 months, we had maybe 2 days off together. And those 2 days were the most intensive things I have ever experienced. And they can create worlds and they can take it away instantly. And something must have been taken away from them. So they are very cautious if you come towards them with a question. Whatever question you have towards them, write it down. Ask them tonight. Ask them one simple question about your life, your future, and you will see that they are off track. If you see it now objectively, after this video, you will see that they are off track, like a race car running, but just without a direction and not knowing when the loop will stop. You know, the Formula One drivers, they know when a loop will stop. They don't. They just run. There is someone, you know, with the Formula One who's always with a flag out there, like you have still 1 lap to go. In their heads, there's no one with 1 flag to go. It's like they're still on the loop. And if you leave them, there will be no difference. They will still be in this running mood without a direction, without a goal. They will tell you they have goals, big goals. My God, the goals mine had was amazing. But if you think about it, they're just doing it to impress someone or just to show the world like I'm a normal citizen doing good things. It's also just a game. So everything in your relationship that you feel right now that doesn't feel right, where you don't feel understood, write it down. And I wrote it down after I broke up, and it didn't want to stop. It went on for 3 pages, I think. And on the other side, there should be something that is good in that relationship, and I couldn't come up with 3 things I couldn't come up with. It was eating, I think it was eating because he cooked. And I think maybe secondly, yeah, I couldn't come up with anything. And we should be more worth, you should be more worth that for yourself. And whoever got out of that relationship of a narcissist like me, we are survivors. We are not just quitters of a relationship. We have survived an emotional control that, of course, you're ashamed of it. You just are ashamed because you don't get how you could get into it. But that's not the point in any case. Like, everything in the past is not interesting. Otherwise you go crazy. You can't heal the past by just being in a negative mood. Whatever happened in the past, also with yourself, going into the relationship with a narcissist, just means that I didn't know better. Now I know better, so I can decide better. So even going back to the narcissist, I would be laughing. Like, did I really put up with this? How many years? I would just be standing there like, I think I really would be laughing. I would be like, not even 1 hour, not even 1 coffee would do it. So I wish you good healing, and ask those questions. I would ask one after the other. They're not even used to it. They're used to your emotions and your reactions because they know when you do things. Manipulative. They know it. And as soon as you stop and quit those emotional reactions that they're used to, and suddenly have questions towards them, and suddenly have a standing towards them as a woman, you will be narcissist free. So see who you bring onto your stage, see what kind of questions and what kind of answers you become or get, and decide how you want to move further. So breathing in love and breathing out love to you all, and a lot of strength.